Zooming on in. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the October 17th, 2022 meeting of the Frankfort Village Board. This is a regular meeting tonight. We'll call this meeting to order, and we ask our clerk, Katie Schubert, to take the roll, please. Here.
Trustee Ledden.
Here.
Trustee Severia.
Here.
Trustee Farina.
Here.
Trustee Petro. Trustee Borelli.
Here.
Trustee Rossi.
Here.
Attorney Lamore.
Present.
Chief Chalepis.
Here.
Village Administrator Pisha.
Present.
Assistant Administrator Barica. Present. And Clerk Schubert is present.
All right, thank you. If everyone would join me, stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, before we get started with our agenda tonight, the first item on here is a big celebration here. The Frankfort Area Historical Society is celebrating their 50th anniversary. The community is invited to an open house anniversary celebration on Sunday, October 23rd, this Sunday, at the Frankfort Area Historic Museum, which is located at 132 Kansas Street. It's from 2 o'clock until 5 o'clock. The event will feature food, live music, works by some local artisans, and 2 custom cutout boards with 1972 period clothing. I remember that. I was running around to that. For photo ops. Tickets are complimentary for museum members, but non-members can not only join, but also for $25 they can attend this too, and you'll get your 2023 membership that'll come to it. You can RSVP by calling 815-469-6541 or email frankfort1879@att.net. We have a proclamation that we won't go through and read the whole proclamation, but it celebrates the 50th anniversary. The Frankfort Area Historical Society was founded in 1972 by Marion Nordsell, Jean Garrett, Judith Eisenbrandt, Marie Tavis, and Ralph Eisenbrandt. And we have members of that society here today, and including Ralph Eisenbrandt, who was not only a founding member, but was also the first president. So we have Harry Diarcoli, Judith Schultz, and also Marcia Stewart. And at this point, I would like to get a motion from the floor to acclaim proclamation approving the 50th anniversary of the Frankfort Area Historical Society. We have a motion by Trustee Farina, a second by Trustee Savaria. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Let's, if you wouldn't mind joining me at the podium, and we'll present the proclamation plaque to you. Ralph, how about we pass this over to you too? So we're very proud of the work that you've done, and thank you. 50 years is a big, big accomplishment. So
Doesn't seem like it's been that long.
goes by fast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Too. So thank you very much. Would you like to say anything, Harry?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to thank the board on behalf of our board of directors at the Frankfort Area Historical Society, as well as our 200 members here in Frankfort. We have many lifetime members, and it's great to be celebrating this, and we sure appreciate you celebrating it with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess we should give this to you.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you, Marcia. Thank you. So we'll get back to business here, and the next item on here is what we call the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Is there anyone who would like to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Brook Academy Daycare Center.
Okay. Trustee Farina has requested that item D, Everbrook Academy Care Center, be removed. Any other changes? All right. Then can I get a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda? Motion by Trustee Farina, second by Trustee Rossi. We're going to go through each of these items here so that those who are in the audience, those who might be watching at home or later, will be able to follow along and know what it is that we are voting for. So the first item on here was the approval of the minutes from the October 3rd, 2022 meeting. If there are no changes to those, we'll move on to the bills, and we will go to Trustee Savaria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bills this evening equal $1,166,192.71. Funds making up this figure include $317,108.81 for the general corporate fund, with the bulk of this coming from health insurance premiums, $70,009.84 to the capital development fund, another $179,041.24 for the sewer and water operations and maintenance, and then $600,032.82 to the sewer and water extension fund, with the bulk of this coming from our wastewater treatment plant loan payment. And that's the bills.
Thank you, Trustee Savaria. Next item on here will be a Committee of the Whole report item, and we'll go back to Trustee Savaria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first item on here is the fiscal year 2022 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, Acceptance of Report. The Annual Comprehensive Financial Report of the Village of Frankfort for fiscal year ended April 30th, 2022 has been completed. The village is required to publish a complete set of audited financial statements within 6 months of the close of each fiscal year. The report includes village's financial statement presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The report is a culmination of the past year's fiscal activity and is a formal mechanism used to communicate to the public the financial status of the village. These financial statements have been audited by Lauterbach and Amann LLP, a firm of licensed certified public accountants, in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. Lauterbach and Amann has issued an unmodified or clean opinion on the Village of Frankfort's financial statement for the year ended April 30th, 2022. At the Committee of the Whole public meeting held on October 3rd, 2022, Lauterbach and Amann Representative Tim Gavin presented the information from the audit to the village's corporate authorities. It was a consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the village board to accept the fiscal year 2022 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the year ended April 30th, 2022. The motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and accept the Village of Frankfort's Annual Comprehensive Financial Report for the fiscal year ended April 30th, 2022.
Thank you, Trustee Savaria. Now we're going to go to another Committee of the Whole item, and we will go to Trustee Rossi.
Mayor. The Target Industry and Industrial Incentive Program, New Construction Grant Approval, 22793 Citation Road Resolution. Applicant Michael Ryan submitted a Target Industry and Industrial Incentive Program application for a new construction grant. The applicant proposes constructing a new 16,185 square foot industrial building at 22793 South Citation Road within the Fay and Graffin Industrial Park. The new building is nearing completion, and the applicant requests funding under the program, which provides for $1 per square foot of the new building. This new facility will be utilized by Premier Ophthalmic Services. At its October 12, 2022 meeting, the Committee of the Whole reviewed the application and determined that the project fell within the parameters of the T3IP guidelines and was eligible for grant funding. The motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole, adopt a resolution authorizing the approval of a Target Industry and Industrial Incentive Program grant in the amount of $16,185 to Michael Ryan Trust Number 1 for construction of a new 16,185 square foot building at 22793 South Citation Road within the Fay and Graffin Industrial Park. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, trustee. We have another item also from the Committee of the Whole, and we will go to trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor. The Committee of the Whole reviewed a request from staff to dispose of 5 surplus vehicles no longer of use or value to the Village of Frankfort. The vehicles identified included 2005 Ford Expedition, 2006 Dodge Charger, and a 2006, 2008, 2009 Crown Victoria, and a 2010 Cargo-Made trailer. At its October 12th, 2022 meeting, the Committee of the Whole forwarded a recommendation to the Village Board authorizing the disposal of the surplus vehicles. The trailer was previously recommended for disposal at the January 20th, 2021 Operations Committee following the delivery of a new 2022 Wells cargo trailer. The motion before us tonight is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance authorizing the disposal of certain surplus property owned by the Village of Frankfort, Will and Cook Counties, Illinois.
Thank you, trustee. Then our final item on the consent agenda, also from the Committee of the Whole, will go to trustee Ledden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is the purchase of replacement vehicle resolution. At its October 12, 2022 meeting, the Committee of the Whole reviewed a request from the Police Department to purchase 2 2022 Ford Explorer vehicles. The Police Department budgeted this purchase as part of its 2022-2023 budget year. The vehicles would be purchased through Curry Motors of Frankfort and would replace a 2014 and a 2016 Ford Explorer used by the Police Department's administrative staff. If approved, the replaced vehicles would be converted and outfitted as community service squads. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the Village Board authorizing the purchase of 2 2022 Ford Explorers as presented. The motion before us this evening is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and adopt a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Curry Motors of Frankfort for the purchase of 2 2022 Ford Explorers 4-door 4x4 vehicles in the amount of $35,235 each, for a total not to exceed a cost of $70,470. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Ledden. Okay, those were all the items on the consent agenda. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion from any of the board members? All right, hearing none, we'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you. Now we'll go to item that was removed from the consent agenda, and that is a Plan Commission report item, and we will go to trustee Farina.
Thanks, Mayor. We'll go. The item before is Everbrook Academy Daycare Center at 11031 West Lincoln Highway. Owners Representative Tom Williams requests the granting of a major change to the Prairie Crossings Plan Unit development to accommodate the proposed site plan for the Everbrook Academy Daycare Center and/or preschool. The subject property is a 2.56 acre vacant parcel known as Lot 1 in the New Lenox State Bank subdivision of the Prairie Crossings PUD. The subject lot was approved in 2008 for 2 office buildings totaling 20,193 square feet and 105 parking stalls. The property owner is proposing to develop Lot 1 with an Everbrook Academy Daycare Center or preschool. The development would consist of the construction of a 1-story, approximately 12,870 square foot building with 41 parking stalls. The applicant also requests the granting of a special use permit for a daycare center or preschool and a special use permit for extended hours of operations to allow the daycare center to open for business at 6:30 a.m. At its August 25th, 2022 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission reviewed the site, architecture, landscape, signage, and lighting plans for the daycare center. The Plan Commission forwarded 2 unanimous recommendations to the Village Board for the special use request and a split recommendation for the granting of the major change to the PUD, subject to the following conditions. A, Village engineer's approval of the preliminary engineering plans. B, staff approval of the landscape plan. C, staff approval of the photometric plan. D, staff approval of the building elevations. E, staff approval of the sign package. Since the public hearing, the applicant has addressed the conditions with the exception that some minor revisions to the landscape plan are required to comply with the landscape ordinance, conversion of some deciduous trees to evergreen trees along the east property line. And this will be addressed as part of the final engineering review. As part of the Plan Commission recommendation, modifications to village codes and ordinances are included in the proposed major change to the PUD, including a waiver of the required loading berth and several variations related to signage. This evening, I'd like to propose the following motion. I'd like to move to table the Plan Commission recommendation to approve a major change to the Prairie Crossings Plan Unit Development and a special use permit for the extended hours. Thank you, Mayor Ogle.
Okay.
Second that motion.
Okay. Well, we have a motion and a second to table. I believe at this point is there discussion on the table?
Any discussion at this point would be limited to the motion, which is to table.
Okay.
And it's my understanding that the motion is specific to the hours.
And to the plan unit development, to approve the major change to the plan unit development. So the first motion that was given it to us today. So I combined the two motions, you know. Correct?
Does that take care of A, B, and C, or just A and C?
From what I understand, it takes care of A, B, C, D, and E.
Okay. Then what would be for the board is just discussion on the motion at table, Mayor.
On whether to table it or not. Okay. So, Trustee Farina, we have a motion and a second. There's a discussion on whether to table this, and the board decides whether to table it or to alternately read through the motions, move in second, and go for a vote. We'll start from one side or the other here. Trustee Rossi, any discussion on tabling?
I actually have none there now, Mr.
Okay. Trustee Burley?
So the discussion can only be on the tabling itself?
Whether to
Is that right? I'm
table it or
sorry.
not.
Yeah, really, yes.
Okay.
It's now the primary motion before the board.
Okay. No comments, Mayor.
Okay. Trustee Farina?
Sure. I just wanted to be able to table this so we can have further discussion and send it back to the Plan Commission for continued review and some amends to the plan unit development before it's approved by the village board.
Can I ask, Mayor? Attorney Lamore, can I withdraw my second so that we can actually discuss the issues?
So, I mean, there is a motion, so there's the opportunity for that to be seconded. You can withdraw your motion if you want, but there's still a motion on the floor.
But it
What-
needed to be second for the table to be
You
considered.
seconding doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna vote in favor.
No, understood.
Okay.
I'm just saying, the motion in the second now locked us into not able to discuss the subject. What I'm suggesting is that perhaps I withdraw my second so that we can have further discussion on it.
Okay.
That's the possibility, but then the motion still needs to be disposed of in some way.
All right. So Trustee Borelli has withdrawn his second? So we have a motion without a second right now.
We do.
Without a second, that motion dies as well, correct?
It might be worthwhile to just put the motion to a vote.
Okay.
But it needs a second to vote on, correct?
It does.
So I guess what I'm trying to achieve is I'm happy to vote on the table, but I just would like to have some discussion on the issues that the board is seeing.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have a,
Trustee Farina, would you consider withdrawing your motion so that we can open up discussion?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
so now in order to discuss this, we need a motion and a second for the actual motions in order to move forward.
So, first motion, to accept the Plan Commission recommendation, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance approving a major change to the Prairie Crossings Plan Unit Development for the bump out at the southwest corner of the property, and a major change to the unnamed Plan Unit Development on the larger remainder of the property, for the property located at 11031 West Lincoln Highway, pending address assignment in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact, subject to the final engineering approval. Would you like me-
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on this first motion that's on here. Well, Trustee Farina, why don't you start with the discussion?
Sure. Thank you for listening. Yeah, I think it's great that we have a daycare center proposed in this area. It's for those watching and in the audience. This is on the western portion of Frankfort, near the Kohl's and Bed Bath & Beyond. So it would service Frankfort families and Mokina families in that area. So that's a positive. And then number two, it would bring traffic to a retail center that is in need of traffic, especially in this day and age with inflation, the recession, as well as the Amazon effect. So very positive, but there's certain aspects to this current plan unit development that I think need to be reconsidered by the Plan Commission. For example, when you look at the proposed building, typically with our plan unit developments, what we do is we have any new buildings within that plan unit development reflect the same look and feel. This one does not reflect the look and feel of the bank next door or the Kohl's Bed Bath & Beyond retail development. So when you look at the Jewel plan unit development, when you look at Home Depot, when you look at where Potbelly is, all those buildings flow, and that's what makes Frankfort Frankfort. We are very particular in our look and feel, and that's why we're considered the gem of the South Side. Also, the playground that's proposed can be seen on Route 30. Typically, we like to put that type of structure in the back. I think that would impact the look and feel of that corridor, but also impact the neighboring townhomes. And of course, across the street is Butternut subdivision. So again, when we had the learning experience come to town, we made sure that that playground was sheltered and it was in the back. Another area too, the landscape plan. I think we need to see and make sure that there are pine trees that are on the eastern portion of there. And at the time, I know the Plan Commission did not have the plans that showcase that, and we did have a resident come to us as a committee of the whole concerned about that. So I do think we need to look at those landscape plans a little closer. And then the signage, it does not meet our standards. We've always been sticklers on signage. In fact, when you look at daycares, the Learning Experience, which is another daycare center here, is a great example where they did tailor their signage to our standards, as well as Freddy's. They're another one, and a number of other corporations in town and businesses. So I think we just need the Plan Commission to look, and staff to look a little further on this issue and work with the developer and then bring it back to us. You know, it could be next month at our next meeting or so forth. I'm open.
Okay. The recommendation from the Plan Commission was a unanimous one on two of them and a split 5-1 in favor on the other ones. Trustee Barella, you've seconded this. Why don't you go next?
Sure. Thanks, Mayor, and thank you, Trustee Farina. I share your concerns. The only one that I don't think you touched on was the material, and I'm not sure why, Director Schwartz, maybe you were at that meeting, but I don't have a good sense of why the thin brick was allowed. It was not allowed, okay. The full dimension, okay, that's misunderstood from the report. Thank you. But I still share some of the concerns that Trustee Farina laid out.
Director Schwartz, would you be able to address some of those? Have there been some changes? I mean, okay. Before we get any further, let's make sure we have the latest and whatever changes, so.
No problem. So good evening. Yeah, there were a number of discussions at the Plan Commission. There was a workshop June 9th. The Plan Commission held a workshop and talked a lot about the orientation of the building. There was a follow-up workshop subsequent to that. I can't remember exactly the date. And then, of course, August 25th, just recently, there was the formal public hearing. So they had 3 opportunities where they did talk about the building orientation with the considerable discussion about the playground facing Route 30. And as the applicant representatives here this evening can attest to, what was talked about was it would be ideal to turn the building and have that not facing Route 30. But because of the interior workings of the building, that was the only option that they had. And of course, the way the access works, they're unlikely to have any other IDOT access from Route 30. So the access has to happen from the behind the bank. And then in terms of landscaping, they're well above the code in terms of overall plantings. If you've seen the landscape plan, it's been beefed up quite a bit since the August 25th Plan Commission meeting. Staff has looked at it, but because of the quick turnaround with trying to get this project on this agenda, there were some minor, just some of the leaf dropping trees, the deciduous trees along the east property line. If some of those are converted over to evergreen, they'll more than meet the landscape ordinance. And I think there was one other question about the
Signage.
signage. So there were a number of sign variances initially, and those were whittled down. The Plan Commission was okay with having a freestanding directional sign sort of as you come in behind the bank. But because that sign says Everbrook Academy on it, typically the village ordinance only allows enter or exit, very generic directional signs. So that would, just having the name of the project is one particular variation. They also have it illuminated, where directional signs typically are not allowed to be illuminated. And then the other variation was the colors on the logo that they have. Their corporate logo has more than 3 colors, and our ordinance only limits signage to no more than 3 colors. So I think they had 4 colors. But in terms of the scale of the signs, both on the building itself, the freestanding monument sign that's going to be out on Route 30, and the directional sign, those are the 3 signs. They all meet the size, square footage, and setback requirements. Be happy to answer any other questions.
So we're allowing, or it's coming to us with the 4 colors on the sign?
Correct.
Yeah, because I know when we were on the Plan Commission, it was another daycare that had more than 3 colors, and we sent that back, so.
Yeah, the Plan Commission talked quite a bit about that, and their feeling was, again, their big concern was any signage that's taller or of a lesser setback, but they felt that, and the applicant initially did want to do a second wall sign on the building, kind of facing the bank drive-through. The Plan Commission did not support that, and instead said we would be okay with the directional sign, and the colors were not of major concern to
Yeah,
them.
because the last company was very adamant that that was their corporate kind of branding, and we pushed back very hard because I think, as Trustee Farina says, we have very high standards, right? I personally don't feel comfortable loosening those standards and allowing more than 3 colors. We pushed back before. Guess what? They said that they wouldn't do it, and they did it because they felt very strongly about being here, so.
And the colors are just related to the logo itself, not the lettering is uniform, one color. So this is it's like a globe, it's a circular logo that's on the elevations, but.
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right, Trustee Ludden?
No questions.
Trustee Rossi?
Actually, Trustee Farina, you were talking about the architecture not blending with the rest of them. Was that discussed at?
Yeah, quite a bit at both workshops. Obviously, the bank building, the New Lenox State Bank, which is now BMO Harris, is a federal style of architecture, which is the classic red brick, white trim, steeply pitched roofs. A very unique type of architecture. The shopping center, the Kohl's, the stores that are part of that, the outlots, the Panera Bread, those are more of just almost like a prairie style of architecture, very a shallow pitch roof. The daycare center is more closely resembling the shopping center than it is the bank. We did talk about, would they be able to maybe do a steeper pitched roof and go with more of a federal style? The Plan Commission didn't, sort of, I don't want to speak for them, but that wasn't of major concern. But of course, being that this is a PUD, it's a major change. We did try to push them to kind of have brick quality and details that are more representative of what Frankfort should be. In terms of the bank building, I mean, that's a very high style of architecture. The office buildings that were proposed in 2008 and then never happened because of the recession, those in fact, there were images in the packet, those in fact were more representative of the federal style of architecture.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, the owner's applicant, or the applicant is here as well? Yes. Would you like to come forward, sir? Maybe make any comments, or the board can ask you questions at this point?
Yes. Tom Williams. Thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone has any direct questions for me, please let me know. We've tried to accommodate at every step of the process what was asked of us, and we think we did a decent job at that. So we'd be more than happy to address any concerns. I mean, if the one thing that's stopping this from going forward is having 3 colors, we'll make that change. That just wasn't asked of us last time, but yeah.
Mayor will go.
Yes.
May I address one?
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming here today. And again, there aren't any daycares on that side of Frankfort, so I think it's a wonderful addition for families in that area, as well as our neighbor Mokina. So I'm looking forward to your business here, but I'm hoping that we can still consider tabling it so you can work with our staff and perhaps our plan commission just to go ahead and make a number of tweaks like what Trustee Severia said with regards to the signage, working on your architectural style, maybe looking to see what you can do with the playground. And I would like to see landscape plans that do showcase that there are pines, because our staff person mentioned about if and there may be, but that didn't confirm that there will be. So I would like us to see you here again next month if possible, and have you just work on some of these items for us.
If that's what's needed, we were hoping to start construction this year in order to meet our deadline for enrollment next fall, which would mean we'd have to start construction next month. But if the general view is that it's not going to get passed tonight and we need to wait, then obviously we'll have to do that.
Well, now, if the signage colors is a sticking point, which we should stick to 3 colors, I agree with that. We can modify that. Is the board amenable to doing that tonight and be amenable to that? Are there other sticking points on not moving forward on this tonight?
I mean, yeah, the colors was a big one, so thank you for
Sure.
making that accommodation. We do have very high standards here, and the second we lax it for one person, the dominoes fall, so we want to make sure that we stick to it. So thank you. I guess I still don't understand the playground, and I apologize because I just didn't have the chance to make it to the plan commission. Usually something like this, I would try to make it and at least listen into the workshop or the public hearing. So can you describe the playground or why it has to be on that side? I guess I'm struggling to understand it, I guess. But
yeah, we did try every which
Okay.
way. We spent a lot of time working on the site plan, the design, and this childcare brand has a specific prototype, L-shaped prototype, that because there's no entrance off of Route 30, it's just in the back where the parking lot has to be. And the way the site is, it's larger than what is typically needed, but it's narrow. So there's a lot of setback in front off of Route 30, and then there's a decent setback on the south of the property, but it's somewhat skinnier property that we just couldn't make it work with moving that playground to the south.
Okay.
So,
Because of your prototype or because of the property itself?
you know what? That's a great question, and it's probably a little bit of both. It's probably a little bit of both.
Because we have worked with businesses in town where, like Steak and Shake is a good example, where they did change. Freddy's is another one where, they're all red and they changed, and, they work with us and we work with them as well. So I'd hope you reconsider that too. And thanks, Trustee Burley, for bringing that up.
Yeah, 110% transparent, we did try. You know, we tried to work with everything that staff and the Plan Commission asked us to do as far as, like you mentioned, the thin brick. We went to full depth brick. The colors, there's on the west facing elevation, there's actually an area where it looks like the entrance to the building, which with pillars, stone pillars, which it's actually not the entrance, but Plan Commission just wanted that look on the western side. Typically, we would have a different style fence, but we went with the, you know, the decorative stone pillars with the iron fencing instead of a normal, you know, white vinyl fence. So we did try. We did try hard to accommodate everything that was asked of us. Yes. And,
Question that's probably more directed to my fellow trustees. With the playground, is it aesthetics or is it a safety concern?
It's both. I mean, a safety concern is, I mean, I think it's far, I don't have it in front of me unfortunately, but you know, I assume it's far enough back, there's fencing and, you know, there's other.
Well, so is there anything blocking? Because I would say.
Well, I don't know, that's why.
Yeah, far enough back, we had the issue at Lincoln Way, which was way far back, and it was still.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that
there
was
are-
tragic.
It's about 15 feet up a hill, though.
there are two sets of stone retaining walls
Okay,
that you'd have to go up and through.
okay, so, thank you. And then the other, as far as aesthetics, is there any screening with, you know, around the playground with trees or anything? or-
There's a ton of landscaping
Okay.
in front of that decorative iron fence. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we did actually a 3D rendering, a couple 3D renderings showing different views, and I wish I had those with us, but you could see the tons of landscaping that's in front of that fence.
great. That addresses my concerns.
Trustee Levin? Any-
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Actually, I do have a question for the board, though. Going forward, I guess, when, if we're aware that we're gonna take something off, it would be helpful just to know that so that, we can look at the history of the item and have a sense when we come here what's coming. That would just be helpful for me, so I could have some questions in advance.
Agree. Are there any questions that haven't been answered or that are sticking points right now? We can modify the color right,
Yes. Yep.
right now
Yes.
so that it matches what the board wants, unless the board wants to still move forward towards tabling something. Now, that'll put you out of your construction timeline,
Yes.
for development. So that's something for the board to consider.
I know Mike left. Did I understand right? He feels that the architecture of that building will kind of blend with the shopping center, just not with the bank in front of it? Is that my understanding, what he said?
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
reflect the
the
bank.
architecture was more like the shopping center and
Okay.
all the retail along Route 30 versus the BMO Harris. And we did dress up our architecture to try to get close to the BMO Harris and above the retail, but we just couldn't match that Federalist style with the big dormers. But we did go above what the retail was on Route 30, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to modify this? Or,
The
Go to a
current
vote.
motion on the board, on the floor, I'm sorry.
so I think we have, actually it was motion number 1, is that correct?
Correct.
Trustee Freeman?
Okay.
So we have motion number 1, and really within that, the staff approval of the sign package, condition is that it has to be, that there's no more than 3 colors, it's gotta find that. Is there consensus to move forward on a vote?
Yep.
All right. So, clerk, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Can we take a vote on that first motion?
Yes. Trustee Farina?
No.
Trustee Borelli?
No.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Motion carries. Oh.
Okay. And my vote, including with the three-color change, is yes.
Okay, motion carries.
We have a second motion. Go ahead, Trustee Farina.
Accept the Plan Commission recommendations, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting a special use permit for a daycare center, preschool, and a special use permit for extended hours of operation, allowing the daycare to open for business at 6:30 a.m. for the property located at 11031 West Lincoln Highway, pending address assignment, to permit the business operation of Everbrook Academy Daycare and or preschool in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact, and condition upon the parking lot lights shall be connected to a shut-off timer which automatically turns off the lights no later than 8 p.m. each night and no earlier than 5:30 a.m. and only during days when the daycare and or preschool is open for business.
Second.
So a motion was by Trustee Farina, second by Trustee Burley. Okay. And the applicant, if you don't mind staying here for just a minute, too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So is there discussion from the board on
I had
that?
a question.
Yes.
It states the time that it opens, but is it extending the time up front?
Just-
What are the hours?
Just by a half hour up front in the
Okay,
morning,
all
6:30 to 6:30.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Mayor, may I ask
Yes.
a question?
Mhm.
This doesn't include like lights on the building for security purposes, correct?
Well, that was a question I had for the applicant as well, and that's also concern is that for security, maybe not the parking lot lights, you might want those closed or down at 8 o'clock, but for security for that area.
Right, the
Um,
doors or windows?
Yes, I think that would be allowed, is that correct, that those would be allowed?
There was a stipulation by the Plan Commission to have the lights on a timer, so they turned off by a specific time.
Right, for the parking lights,
Yes.
under the photometrics, but for the actual building, are you,
I'm suggesting that for security purposes, the business may want to have their doorways lit as
yeah,
well as windows.
that would be
if there's
excluded
security.
from this particular
Correct.
thing of parking lot lights? As long as that's the understanding for me too, I'm fine. If the parking lot lights are dimmed at 8 o'clock, or, so we had residents come to our committee of the whole, express concern about that.
Okay.
For safety and pick up security of the families and the children, yes. Any discussion from the board members? Okay, we'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, then for the vote.
Trustee Burley?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Farina?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mr. Williams, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Okay. So our next item on here is the mayor's report. We're recognizing Phillips Chevrolet. They were presented with the General Motors Dealer of the Year Award for the 17th time, recognizing the dealership's achievements in sales, customer satisfaction, and service to the community. They've been a great partner to us here. The Village Leaf Collection Program began today on October 17th, and it'll continue through November 28th. New Way Disposal will continue yard waste and branch pickup through November. Our Scary on the Prairie costume contest, costume run and spooky sprint event is coming up. That's we're going to host this inaugural event, Scary at the Prairie 5K, and it'll be held in downtown Frankfort on this Saturday, October 22nd. Come out and bring the children to cheer on the participants and enjoy refreshments and entertainment on Brighter Green. Details and online registration are available at the village website. It's frankfortil.org. I think it's $15 if you're going to come in costume. You get a shirt also, kind of neat shirts for this. There's hot cider, all sorts of things. This will be a very fun event. There's the 5K, And you could come, it's a run or walk, you can come in costume or not. There's a 1 mile that's part of it, and then for the little ones, there's a 100-yard dash. So this is starting to, it's a new event for us, and we're very excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. The Trunk or Treat is also coming up. The Frankfort Police Department will host its annual Safety Trunk or Treat Halloween event on Saturday, October 29th. And the chief will talk, I think, a little bit more about this. I won't take it all. So it's from 10 o'clock to noon in Brighter Green parking lot in downtown Frankfort. The EF Bucko Costume Parade will kick off the event at 10 a.m., followed by the trunk or treating. Our local businesses and organizations will pass out candy and trinkets to the children from their decorated trunks. We'll probably all be there, and definitely I've got my costume picked up, and it's ready to go. Details are available at the village website, and also just so everyone knows, true, the trick-or-treat hours for the village are from 4 o'clock to 7, and that'll be on Monday, October 31st. Our Frankfort Country Market will end its 2022 season on Sunday, October 30th, and that's the last one that runs from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m., and the village extends its thanks to the vendors, the residents, and all of the visitors for a very, very successful season. Looking forward to next year with that. We have a couple special events. Tonight I'm wearing purple for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. That's in October. And one of the groups that we do support, and usually Ken Gray from the Will County State's Attorney's Office, and our police and our village work very closely with this group and the services they provide. They're having their Men Who Cook fundraiser. It's their 12th annual one. It's this Sunday from 6 to 9. It's at the JJC Whitendorf Center, which is 17840 West Laraway Road in Joliet. And there's men from all areas of the community that are preparing their favorite food recipes, and they have sampling for judges. I know in the past our police department has done, I think it's done brisket. I think John Barica, you guys have done you might have even won, didn't you? You won, yeah. It's a fantastic event, and it's a fantastic organization. Also, they as part of the Will County State's Attorney's Office and the High-Tech Crime Unit, they all work very closely together, very, very important partner for us here in Frankfort, keeping our families safe. And all those proceeds will benefit the Children's Advocacy Center. Very last thing I wanted to say too is with Halloween coming up is that if you have excess candy, you can drop it off here at the village. They'll put it in the mayor's office, load it up. Also at our police station. You can drop off any of your excess candy there, and we will get it out to people in the community. Last year, the Children's Advocacy Center, when they bring in families that are traumatized, a lot of times that they like to have that. Mantino Veterans Home made a run out there. Usually we'll call people also crisis suburbia, domestic violence homes. We'll make sure that it's put to good use. And also if you have ideas of places you think are being underserved in the community and you would like us to deliver it to them, we've made personal deliveries out there. Trustee Farina, we went out to drop off 40 pounds of candy for the children at the one site too. So anyway, I hope you have a very safe and fun Halloween coming up. We won't see you again as a board until I think November 3rd or November, somewhere in the beginning of November. And that's it tonight for the mayor's report. And we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for board comments.
Thank you. The general election is coming up November 8th. It is expected to be a busy election day, so you can avoid the crowds, avoid the lines, and come to Village Hall for early voting. It will be from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. October 24th through 28th, and then again October 31st through November 4th. And also a happy birthday to my sons. They turned 10 today. So that seems like a big one for me, so a milestone day. And that's all that I have.
All right. Thank you, clerk. And we'll go to Trustee Ledden.
Thank you. Happy birthday to the boys. That's a landmark one. And I also would like to congratulate the Frankfort Historical Society on 50 years. That's quite the landmark as well. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Ledden.
I guess I got a couple dittos. Happy birthday. Congratulations to Historical Society, 50 years. And congratulations to Philip Chevrolet on Dealer of the Year. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Trustee Farina.
Happy birthday, Joe and Zeke, double digits, big one, Mom. Also, congratulations to the Frankfort Area Historical Society. My family and I, we look forward to celebrating their big day on Sunday. Also, did I hear, John, are you cooking this Saturday night?
I'm not cooking this Saturday.
You will not be cooking. Anyone from Frankfort?
I don't believe we'll have anybody in this year, but I think we'll get somebody for next year again.
Good, good. All right, well, I plan to attend that. I'm looking forward to it. It is good. The Will County Children's Advocacy Center is a great partner, and our children in our community who do go there and use the services, so that's a great thing, and it's a fun night, so I'm looking forward to it, and that's it, Mayor Ogle.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Farina. Trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, happy birthday, Joe and Zeke. I highly encourage our residents to take advantage of early voting at the Village Hall. It's the only way I vote now. Early voting is the best at Village Hall. The lines are so quick, especially if you don't wait till like the last Friday afternoon. If you come sometime during the week, like midday, you'll be in and out in 5 minutes. It's a great way to exercise your right to vote. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Rossi.
Final happy birthday. And congratulations again to the Historical Society. They do a great job. It's great to have 50 years and looking forward to attending their day on Sunday. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee. Now we'll go to Rob Pisha, our Village Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just some clarification. There is branch pickup through New Way, but just want to remind residents that those branches need to be bundled and also need to have the green yard waste sticker on them if you want to have them picked up. So I would recommend, if you don't want to have them sitting there, that you may want to wait to trim your trees since we're in the midst of our leaf pickup. Also, I want to remind residents, it's kind of my annual spiel on leaf collection, is please don't put your leaves in the street. It causes issues for our drainage, especially when it rains, so we ask you that you do keep it on the parkway. They will be vacuumed up by staff, but don't put them in the street. That is a problem for us. Just want to remind residents also that trick-or-treat hours are from 4 to 7 on Monday, October 31st. And also happy birthday to the boys. That's the end of my report.
Thanks, Rob. Now we go to our Police Chief, Leanne Chilepis.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for plugging our trunk or treat coming up October 29th. We're in good shape with trunks. We have a lot of businesses and organizations that have volunteered to decorate trunks for kids to go trick-or-treating, so we're excited about that. A new addition this year is we are actually going to be doing a food drive at the event. So we're doing treats for the township, a good way to stock up on their food before the holidays come up. There is a list of the most needed items on our Facebook page, and we'll be posting it to the village website as well, so we hope we have a lot of participants that are willing to bring an item or two to help out with our local food pantry. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And now we'll go to our attorney, Anna Lamore, for the attorney's report.
No report tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Any other business for the board? Okay.
First is the public comment section. Especially after last meeting, I feel like, maybe we might want to consider moving it to the front of the agenda so that the board has the opportunity to discuss the comments or address the comments that were raised to us, specifically if it was comments pertaining to a vote we're about to take. I think previously under Mayor Holland, if someone had something to say about something that was up for a vote, he would let them come up at the time. I don't know if that was the right way to do things, but at the same time, I feel like it would be good to have the ability to at least address the comments that are pertaining to a vote that we're about to take. By the time the comments are in, the vote's already done, and it's kind of a moot point. So we could discuss that hopefully at a future committee meeting.
We can bring that back, because I brought that up a year ago for public comment.
The time limit part of the public comment, right, Mayor?
So, yes, I think we'll bring it back to a committee of the whole, and we'll discuss that.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second item is actually a question for staff. I was made aware of basically a proposal to move a business into the Mech House, and it seemed somewhat serious, and I'm surprised it never made it to the board, and I just curious to see if there's any feedback, if they weren't responsive at some point, but basically I was kind of told that, well, you guys are tearing it down anyway. They don't want to proceed with it. And I said, well, that never actually came to the board. I feel like a proposal like that should, I'm not saying I would support it or not, but I don't know, I don't know how far it got, and I'm happy to talk with you offline, but if there's serious proposals, I feel like these should be coming to the board and not killed by staff.
No formal proposal made for the house we would have brought it to the board for discussion, so there's been, people have made multiple inquiries about the actual property, but an actual proposal, there was no formal application or anything that was made that would have risen to bring it to the board for discussion.
Okay, thanks. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Trustee Burley. Any other business?
I just want to echo Trustee Burley's concerns about public comments. I think that's a good suggestion to ensure that we hear from the public about their concerns, especially if it has to do with their property. So thank you for bringing that up.
Any other business? Okay. Now we'll go to public comment. Anyone who'd like to make a comment before the board? Terry, come on up.
First, I'd like to thank you for having the meeting September 30th on the Oasis October 3rd meeting. And I'd like to thank Ms. Schubert for the 2 motions that she sent me. But as to date, there's no minutes of the meeting. So I would like to submit my minutes to her to put in, to enter as the minutes that I said at the meeting that I voiced.
Yeah, transcript, is that what
Yes,
you're?
sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Is that all right?
You can give them to the clerk, but
Okay. Okay.
the minutes from the meeting are not verbatim transcripts.
Uh,
The minutes are minutes of actions taken.
Right. I looked at the minutes on the other, and they're quite descriptive. I realized that dating back all the way till January 2nd, 2018, there's always been minutes. This is the only meeting that they don't have the minutes, the transcripts, okay? I'm not trying to make an issue out of this. I just want to make sure that the concerns and issues are on record,
Okay.
on public record.
If you can give them to the clerk.
Okay. And
Point of clarification, those minutes were the ones that were approved tonight, and they don't get posted until they're only drafted, and once they're approved, then they're posted.
okay, well, it was told to me it was going to be October 14th.
Yeah, it'll be posted after tonight, because they just approved them.
Today's the 17th, right? I'm just saying what was told to me. I don't want to argue with anybody. I just want to make sure that
Yeah, no, they'll get posted.
the minutes are in there. Okay. Okay. Also, is it possible for me to submit a EI consultant's report?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, if
Okay,
you would give
can
it
I
to
have
the
those?
clerk.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate
Yes.
it. Thank you, everybody.
Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment before the board tonight? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by trustee Savaria, second by trustee Farina. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks.